Okay, so we're back again here. Just checking to make sure that I have a level here real quick. I do. Okay. What I did was I went ahead and I wrote some lyrics, and I've decided I'm going to try. I'm going to try and record on here. This gets funny because there's like two levels of recording going on here. There's the recording within the DAW of the music, and there's the recording of me recording this. So it gets a little confusing, but this software here is what I'm using to actually record the video and audio of what I'm doing here, if that makes sense. You know, the actual sound recording that I'm doing within here, within the DAW. So what I've decided to try and do, and I emphasize try, I don't know if this is going to work or not, but I'm going to try and actually record me recording the vocals. They're fairly simple. The pre-chorus and chorus are the same. So what I sometimes do is, like, I'll probably sing the pre-chorus and chorus the 3 different times that they occur. But what I'll probably do is then pick from those 3 different versions, the one I like best, and then copy and paste that into all of the pre-chorus and choruses. But as far as the verses go, the verses of course are all different, so I'll be singing those. And being that the middle section is fairly short, I'll probably just let it play through. Sometimes if it's kind of a long middle section, I'll come in and stop and then reset at the beginning of the last verse. But I think in this case, I'm just going to let it play through. And and the other thing is that I'm not going to be using these headphones. I'm going to use the headphones I normally use to record vocals. I don't want the latency problem, and I think I'm definitely going to get that if I try and use these. So you won't hear me talking. You'll see the visuals once I start the recording. You'll see the visuals of the sound waves, and you'll hear me singing, and you'll see the visuals of the waves being recorded here on track 4. Actually, let me see. Am I going to use that track? I don't think I am. In fact, I have this on yellow now because I was showing earlier how to set the colors, but I think I'm going to turn it back to this color, which is the color of my guitars, because I think I'm probably going to do a lead guitar track there. Not certain, but I think so. So I'll use one of these. I have these 2 tracks here, 6 and 7, are audio tracks that are free. So I have a color that I always use on my vocals, and it's that one right there, that light blue color. And I've got to come over here, and I have a template that I've developed for this, for vocals, and it's in a file here. Let me see, which one is it here? It is this one here under 11 Rack Editor, plugin settings. Down, and it's called this one right here. I have several actually in there, but this is the one that I use most of the time. And it's actually pretty basic. In fact, you know what? Another thing I have to do here is turn off my air conditioner because I have a vent, and the unit itself is very close to my microphone. Now it just turned itself off, but I have to go turn it off to make sure it doesn't come back on because it's going to bleed into my vocal mic. So just give me a second here. Be right back. Okay, that was that. And this is my setup for recording vocals, and it's very simple. I have to change this over to mic, and here's all I have on it. I have this is the front end, so this is whatever I turn on here is going to be actually recorded. This is not like adding effects after you have recorded, which can be turned on and off. These effects are actually going to be what we call printed, so they will actually be going in, and all they are is an EQ here that has some settings that I've decided, because of my mic and my room and my voice, These are some settings I've decided I like, and I've got they're pretty subtle for the most part. I've got a 1.5 dB cut at, what is that, 3,000 kilohertz, and then I've got a minus 3 dB cut at, I think that's 5. Yeah, 5 kilohertz. And that's it, basically, there. I don't think there's anything else here. No, I think everything else is just 0. That's all I have. And then I have some compression, and this compression, I think all it's really doing is adding some gain, because I have the threshold set so high that I honestly don't know if I'm even actually getting any actual compression out of this. I could be. That's pretty high though. Minus 20.5 dB is fairly high. I probably am. I'm gonna guess, because it's a large condenser mic. I'm guessing it's pretty loud. The input is pretty strong, and it's probably getting a little bit of compression, at least at that. I've got a pretty fast attack there. That was, oops, what was that? It was about 40. Didn't mean to change that. In fact, actually, I'm going to reset it here, just so I'm sure it's the exact setting. I don't know what I was thinking there, but there it is. It's at 40.2, and the release is kind of middle, not real fast, not real slow, kind of in the middle area. My ratio is 4:1. My knee's at 12, and I've got a fairly significant 8.2 dB gain boost, and that's part of probably why I like this setting. And I do like the idea, at least, even if, like I said, this threshold is too high to be doing any really significant compression, which I'm not sure. I think it is, but I'm honestly not sure. And but I do like the idea of having some compression even at the beginning, because it's a dynamic vocal performance is fine in some stuff. Generally in rock music, I'm going to say, from my own personal opinion, it's not so fine. I think generally in rock music, where just about everything's compressed, you want the vocals to be somewhat even, or actually pretty even overall. You don't want big dynamic changes. It's just not part of, generally speaking, how rock is. I don't think that's my mindset on this. Somebody else might have a completely different take, but my idea is that you generally want it to be pretty even. You don't want a whole lot of dynamic differentiation in kind of loud music. It's just not how it's done generally. Now, I'll also add compression after the fact on the vocals, and I even have a I'll show you here. I'll add it now. I have an effect unit that I use here, channel strip, that came with this DAW, and this is it, VX64 it's called, and it's got a lot of nice things for vocals here. It's got a de-esser, which gets a lot of what we call the sibilants out, which is, de-esser literally means S sounds, that kind of sound, which can be very sharp and kind of harsh. This takes that out, and I'll almost always add that. And I even have an EQ that I use pretty much every time I do the vocals. I put this on the wrong track, didn't I? Just grab it, left click, hold, and drag it up. Now it's on the right track. This is a compressor. I usually don't use the compressor on this unit. It has a doubler. Don't use that too often. I often use the delay. Don't use this equalizer too much. I often use this one over here, which we've seen before, which is this one. I don't know. I'm used to using this one. I like it. I even know what I was going to say is I have a setting that I always use, which is a 3 dB cut right at 5K there. And I usually use a pretty narrow Q. There's just something about this. This is a kind of a further de-essing in my mind. It seems to be my voice, this mic, this room, whatever, this frequency to me is often harsh. So I almost always just do a cut there, a 3 dB cut right at 5K there. And you can also add some tube saturation. This is what is this? This is like adding it to the back end, and this is adding it to the front end, for lack of a better way of putting it. This is like putting it. I don't know what that is. Is it technically after the like before the preamp section or after the preamp section? I believe is what that is. So you turn it on there, and you can the amount of tube saturation in the output stage. See, in the output stage, and this one over here is in the input. The amount of saturation in the input stage. So essentially what I was saying there, I think. And so I'll be using that, and I'll make these settings. Actually, this setting is pretty much always just like this. I know exactly. I usually turn that knob to 2 o'clock and turn it on. That's about it. What is this frequency set at? 2.95. Did I move that? Let me see. I guess I did a little, maybe. 2.9 is where that's at. Kilohertz, right around 3. So let me see here. And like something like the delay, I'll do that after I record the actual track so that I can hear what I'm doing there. And I may or may not also, I'm a big fan, and I know this is kind of strange, but I'm a big fan of just having dry vocals. I've done that a lot. I don't know why that is. It's kind of strange. I would say it's, generally speaking, it's not what people do. But aside from the fact that I enjoy the idea of doing things differently, which is something that I at least the idea. I don't know. I don't know if in practice I apply that too much, but this would be one area, I guess, that I do, and it's strange. I realize, and it's probably even kind of, well, it's certainly not a commercially accepted practice. I think, generally speaking, vocals are always, tweaked and effect laden. That's a large part of what, there's a lot of processing generally, I think, that goes on with vocals. But I often just like the sound of just a dry voice with maybe a little bit of EQ on it, perhaps, and maybe some compression, but like no reverb or delay. I've done that many times, actually, and I don't know. I don't know what it is. I just like the pure sound of a voice, even in a song like, a rock song or something that doesn't, I don't know, there's just almost like an intimacy, I suppose, or something to it that I like. But also, recently I haven't been doing it as much as I used to. I used to do it more than I do now. Now, I've gone back to, adding some delay or reverb or possibly even both. But in any case, let's see what I got to do here. I turn the record on, and this, which is a monitoring. Actually, getting a little echo here. Oh, it's picking up my voice in the room. But so I am going to have to. If you hear a little bit of echo there, I apologize. That's just the mic. The condenser mic that I sing the vocals into is picking up my voice, I think. But maybe you can, if you can hear that. Even like I'll talk a little louder. This is kind of strange, but let me see if I can do this. I'm going to walk over there with the headset on, which has the mic built into it. Maybe you can hear the latency I'm talking about. Take the little cover off the mic here. Hello. 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 Are you hearing an echo? I am. That's what I'm talking about. That's latency. If you can hear that. I'm not sure if that's being picked up by the video recording software, but that's latency. If you could hear that echo, that's literally the difference between this mic that's on my head and the mic in the room there. And the reason there's an echo there is because one of them, which one would it be? I think it would be the mic in the room. The condenser mic is actually having latency. So it's that signal is being processed through this video recording software, and somehow it's getting that little bit of delay. Anyway, in order to do this, I have to take off this headset. So like I said, there's not going to be anything of me talking. Of course, I couldn't talk and sing at the same time. pretty much. So, and we'll just see how this goes. It shouldn't take too long. It's just going to take pretty much the run of the song, which is about 3 minutes. And like I said, I'm going to just let it play through. So there's going to be some areas without, it's primarily the center section that's not going to have any vocals. But here we go. Now, maybe I should mention one other thing, and that is gain staging, which is basically setting the input level for anything you're going to record, like vocals, a guitar, anything that you, other than, well, actually, even with virtual instruments, there can be some gain staging. I don't usually think of it as much with virtual instruments, but maybe I should. But generally, like their output level, you can tell just by listening how it is. At least if you're using it after you've recorded other things. I think that's probably what I generally do. Like if we were going to look at the level of this keyboard track here, let's have a look at it real quick. It's right here. It's actually pretty good there. The best, what I've heard is basically the optimal level for digital recording. This is different from analog, where you would actually try to push things even to where they were distorting a little bit or going into the red, perhaps. But that's not the case with digital. It's a totally different thing in the way things distort. Generally, digital distortion is not considered pleasant. It's just not. Whereas analog was. So where you're going for is generally -18 is supposedly the sweet spot, and that was pretty much where that was. If you watch, here's -18 right here, and watch this again. Pretty close. It's peaking over a little bit at times, but I mean, and under, but generally I would say that's probably pretty close. So anyway, I have my my input gain already set for my vocals, and I'll check it after I record it if for some reason something was off and it comes out a little bit hot or something. But that's also being affected by this right here that I showed you earlier on this compressor. This is adding 8.2 dB of gain. But I've done this so many times that generally I have my settings set, and they should come out pretty close to -18 here. We'll see what happens. In any case, taking off the headsets now, and here we go. Check one. Down the block, turn around, let me look into your eyes. Hello, let's go. Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. So close, I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on, tighter, babe. No place I'd rather be. Come on.
don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. Go down the street, hand in hand. Don't I know I'm such a lucky man? How could it be that you are here with me? Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. 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 You're what I like.
Okay, and I'm back here. It'd be interesting to see exactly what that sounds like. I'm kind of curious as to what that will sound like on the video. I'm not sure if it'll sound much different than what I was hearing in the headphones. Actually, when I play it back here, I will know, so I won't have to wait till I'm done with the video. But I'm going to turn off this and this, and I'm going to increase the waveform, the visual of the waveform, again, which doesn't affect the sound of it, just the visual representation. Now, there was a couple parts in there that I felt maybe could have been better, honestly. But I'm going to play it back and listen to it, and essentially, well, not entirely dry. I've got whatever I turned on. I got the de-esser on here. I've got the EQ move that I did there. And I think that's pretty much it right now. I don't think I've done anything else here. I haven't sent it to reverb. I haven't turned on any delay. So I'm going to listen back to it and just hear what I did. I'm also going to, well, I'm pretty sure I'm going to keep some of it. So I'll do a little bit of cleanup here. Like this whole middle section where there's nothing. I'm just going to highlight it. Right click. Bam, delete that whole section. I'll cut off this ending section. And I guess I'll cut this. This is between the verses here. I'll cut that out. And we'll see. Let's see what we got.
Hello. Let's go down the block. Turn around.
Now here's something I forgot to say. On vocals, I mentioned this on guitars earlier, if you'll remember. I do the same thing on guitars, but I do it on vocals too. I'll turn on this high pass filter, bring it up to 100, or close to 100. It doesn't have to be exactly 100, but yeah, there's 100, and I'm cutting out the bottom end on this vocal. I don't want any low end rumble. Yeah, basically. So I'm doing that. Let's see.
Hello. Let's go down the block. Turn around. Let me look into your eyes. Hello. Let's go. Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like.
Okay, gonna pause it there. I did notice so far I like the second pre-chorus and chorus better than the first one. There were like some timing issues that I was hearing here. I think pretty sure this first section of the chorus, like there's a timing issue perhaps, and I don't know. I think I just like the performance overall. So far I'm thinking I'm going to use the second one, unless this third one could be better. And I did sing both choruses at the end, so I suppose I could even pick between those two as to the actual chorus part. But let's see what we got here.
Here we go, down the street, hand in hand. Don't I know, I'm such a lucky man. How could it be that you are here with me? Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. 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 You're what I like.
Okay, actually I think after hearing this, I think I like the third one the best in terms of the chorus. So I'll show you what we're going to do here. Let's see. Okay, we're going to do that. Well, actually, we got to go back here and get rid of these first. So, let's see. I think to there's where I want to go. And same thing here. And then I want to grab that to there, and then I'm just going to copy and paste that section I just highlighted there. I think I got the cuts right here. We'll see. In terms of where I cut these other ones. Let's see if that's right for the first chorus here.
That you are here with me. Come on.
Nope. I left in the last line of the verse there. So if I go to there, let's see if that's right.
Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like.
Yeah, that's right. So I'll just grab this part now and move it to the next one. It starts right there. That's the second chorus. So I'm using the take from that third chorus on all the choruses, basically. That was my favorite of the 3 passes I did.
Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid.
Now there's a lot of things we could do with even this whole part here. But in particular, just the chorus section. Because we have this double of it here. I mean, this is a possibility. You really have to kind of, do it, and I suppose, and then see how it sounds. But because I doubled the chorus at the end here, I can take the last part I did and copy and paste it to a track below here. And the only thing is I want to make sure I got like the same settings. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just literally copy this plug-in, which you can also do. I'm just going to copy the plug-in down to this track. And now I have the same plug-in with the same settings on the track that I just copied this other version of the chorus onto. I hope this isn't getting too complicated. I'm going to expand the waveform, visual waveform there. I'm going to change the color to the same color that I used on the other vocal track. So what I did was, again, I did 2 passes because the chorus repeats at the end. I did 2 passes of the chorus vocals there. So I took the last pass, which is the same length as the first pass, and just copied it down to this track. So now, in theory, there should be even if they were, I sang them identically, which I know I didn't actually. I know I put some inflections in there that were slightly different. But even if I sang them identically, they'd be different enough subtly so that you get kind of a doubling effect. You can even do that with the same part as I showed you with guitar earlier. I could have just brought the same part down and then moved it back just slightly. Don't even have to move it necessarily, but it's not for a stereo effect in this case so much as it is just to give it a little bit of a chorus effect, because what a chorus is actually a very small delay, and that's what you would have if you move this section back just like a 128th note like we did before. So let me see here. So again, we got to listen to it and see what it sounds like. I just want to do this EQ move, these EQ moves that I always do, which again is just a high pass at 100. I believe that's 100 hertz, right? Yeah, kilohertz is when you move up above 1,000. 1,000 is a kilohertz. So yeah, these lower numbers are hertz. I never think about that stuff, but okay. And then I bring down 5 kilohertz, 3 dB roughly. It can be 3.2, whatever, and a fairly small Q, which is the width. If you can see that moving, that's the width of the EQ there. It's how much area this cut is affecting. Right here, it's affecting. You can see it's affecting all the way out to here. Really, it's affecting up to 10 hertz and down to 2 kilohertz. If I decrease the Q, or actually, I don't know if that's technically considered increasing or decreasing. The number is going up. But anyway, if I move the Q this way and make the area tighter like that, it's affecting a smaller area. It's going from like 4K to 6K there instead of like it was before. And I like it to be just kind of pretty much getting that frequency in this case. So that's what I'm cutting there. And now let's listen to it. Let's see what it does. I mean, often if I have a backing track like a backing vocal like this, I'll take it down in volume a little. So I'll go down maybe 3 dB. And let's see what it sounds like.
You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like.
You can hear a couple harmony tags in there. There's only really just a couple notes that are actually where I change the note on one of these takes. I went for a different note, so it's producing a little bit of a harmony. The rest of it is pretty much a unison thing. So, I mean, I could keep that and maybe even do another harmony part, or not. I'm going to listen to it one more time here.
You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like.
I actually like that, but I'm not sure that it's enough. I don't know if I want that much unison and that little amount of harmony, so I might go back and just sing a harmony part.
You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like.
Now, normally I would take some time and actually work out this part. I would go over it several times, trying different harmonies, or just trying to nail down the harmony that I want. By practicing it over and over again. I don't know that I necessarily want to do that here, just for time's sake. Let me see where I am here. Yeah, a little low on time here, but that's normally probably what I would do, especially because this is interesting, just having the unison with a couple little harmony tags in there. But I think it'd probably be stronger with another actual harmony part in there. But for now, I think I'm going to go with this as it is. And it's hard. I notice when it comes down to the vocals here especially, I'm noticing that the tonality of it really sounds not what I'd want, let's say, in these headphones. It sounds much darker. And so I probably want to go over to at least my other headphones, if not the studio monitors at this point, and listen to it and see if I want to do any other EQ moves or anything on it. Normally I don't do anything or much past this. I know this is pretty bare bones, and again, my approach in general is probably pretty bare bones to recording and songwriting in general, probably even, but I try to keep things simple. I do a lot of writing, so the writing itself is probably where I spend my most time, and well, I'm practicing my instruments and stuff, and this also takes up a lot of my time. But yeah, I generally, in terms of processing and stuff, I try to keep things pretty simple. But I do. It's hard for me to tell in these headphones what I think, because I'm getting a very different coloration than I normally than I expect to hear, that I normally get through my other headphones or the studio monitors in terms of what my voice is doing here. So let me think here. I was thinking of possibly even, more for the sake of just showing you the process as to whether or not it's hard for me to even tell, honestly, if I'm having some pitch issues here. But what I was going to say is I wanted to show you that Melodyne program, which can adjust the pitch if it's off, and I could show it to you even if something is not off. Let me listen here and see if I can find something that sounds like it's off, even in these phones.
Hello, let's go down the block, turn around.
Okay, one other thing I forgot to do here that I'm going to do now is I'm going to compress this. Get a little more level out of it possibly, and just compress it again, it's very similar to what I do with bass. I just go for like a 2 to 4, generally a 2. But sometimes, just recently I've found that sometimes compressing it a little more gives me what I want. But I'm gonna do some compression here on the vocal track.
Hello, let's go down the block, turn around, let me look into your eyes. Hello, let's go. Come on, don't be afraid now. Come on, don't be afraid. You're what I like. You're what I like. You're what I like. Hello, let's go down the block, turn around, let me look into your eyes. Hello,
I'm going to take a little more off the bottom right here. Just like that much maybe.
Don't be afraid now.
Again, these aren't the best headphones, but this is a move I often make, and I'm hearing it here. The vocals still sound a little boxy, a little low-endy. What I think of boxy is just like a little too much low end, still a little too much low end. And I'm going to pull that. So I pulled that down right there. It's minus 2.7 dB at, what is that? 177. Just I was looking at the frequency or the spectrum analyzer and seeing where those peaks were. Here, I'll show you.
Hello,
These low end peaks. Watch.
let's go
See them?
down the block,
Right around in that area.
turn around,
So that's what I'm thinking is causing that low end that I don't like there.
into your eyes.
So I just took about almost, not even quite 3 dB off of that.
Let's go. Come on, don't be afraid.
And I know this is probably going to sound like arrogant or something, and I apologize, but my guess is it's more the headphones than anything. But I'm in this verse, at least, I'm really not hearing anything glaringly off pitch wise. Now I could put this through the monitors or the other headphones and be like, ugh. But for whatever reason, I'm not hearing it here. Let's try the second verse and see.
So close, I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on, tighter, babe. No place.
Oh, somehow I took off the end of this. I didn't mean to do that.
So close, I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on.
I guess it's worth mentioning. Did you see how I brought that back there? See, I had backed this off before because I thought that's where the chorus began, but I actually cut off the last line of the verse, and it's still there, just because I drew it back like that, and you can't see it. If you do that move, that's actually essentially muting that part. It's still there. See, I can bring it back just by sliding it back, and now it's unmuted. So it's not like you deleted it, but it's not going to sound either. Once you bring it back like that, it's essentially like you muted it or deleted it. But you can bring it back just by doing that.
So close, I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on, tighter, babe. No place I'd rather be.
That one sounds pretty good too in these headphones. How about the last one here?
Here we go, down the street, hand in hand. Don't I know, I'm such a lucky man. How could it be that you are here with me? Come on.
Okay. They all sound pretty good. I don't know. I guess I should be pleased by that, but honestly, what I often find is, and I don't know. I don't know how to explain this necessarily, but I often find, I don't know what the technical explanation of this is. I've wondered about it, and I think it's my guess is that it's probably just that different systems emphasize different frequencies. So like you can listen to something on one set of headphones, let's say, and not hear like this vocal part, and everything will sound like the pitch is fine, everything's right, there's nothing's flat or sharp, and everything sounds good. Then you take it and listen to it on a different system, and my theory that because it's emphasizing different frequencies, you'll hear some of the notes differently, and you might hear something that sounds way off. You'll, oh boy. So that's tricky. You may think that you did a perfect performance, or at least a good performance, good enough, and then listen to it on a different system, and all of a sudden, something comes out, and that's just been my experience over, I don't know how many years now, 30 years of recording, that I've come to realize those things happen. And but I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take one of these and I'm going to put it in Melodyne and show you how Melodyne works, just because I think it's a pretty fascinating program. So even though in this headphones I'm not really hearing much wrong with it, we're going to go ahead and go through this process anyway. So I highlight the area. This is what is this, second verse? Yeah. I highlight the area. I right click. I come down to this region effects, Melodyne, create region effects. Now it's going to tell me I did something wrong here because I just remembered there's a setting I have to change, but it'll set it up anyway. Okay, and here it is. It's appearing here in the area where the piano roll view was before, and I do have to change a buffer setting to get this thing to work right. And it's just this has to be up to at least 1024. Right there. And then I have to refresh this. My driver settings. You're going to see the latency is going to go up here. Click on that and apply. Now we've got 49.2 milliseconds. which might actually be too much for your recording, but we're not recording. This is for you just using this plug-in program here. And here it is. I'm going to do what's called undocking it so that I can move the window around. But here it is, and this is representations, much like the waveforms, except these are not really waveforms, but they're representations of the vocal that I just sang. And down here I can drag it around so that I increase or decrease the size of it left to right or horizontally, and here I can increase the size of them vertically. And I like to make them a little bit larger than they originally display. In fact, I think I'll make them a little bit larger this way. Let's see, go like that. Maybe a little larger. Okay, now I have to remember. Now see, this thing will actually try and detect the key, believe it or not. And that's what it's done here, and it's actually gotten it right. C sharp minor is the key. Sometimes it doesn't get it right, but it often does. It often can detect it right off the bat as to what it is. And what we're seeing here, strangely enough, they call these blobs, but that's what they call them. These blobs are the literal notes that I sang. And these lines that are going through them are like the vibrato. If you can see these wavy lines that going through this one right here. It's literally following the pitch as it went. The blobs represent like the whole note itself, and the lines represent literally the path that the pitch took. So it went up here and then came down dramatically, came up dramatically here. It's moving around quite a bit. But just giving this an overall look over. If you see these gray boxes, that's where the note should be within this scale, C sharp minor, which is the key that the song is in. So you can see like this note is not completely centered in that gray area. So it's technically a little flat, that E right there. See, that's an E. If you come over here and go to the right, you see that's an E note. And it's technically, that blob could be right like this one is. See how this one's sitting? I don't know if you can even see, the box is barely visible, but it's basically sitting dead center in that box, and this one isn't. And some of these others are off. This one's a little off, so that means that there's a little bit of flatness there, a little bit of sharpness here actually. This one's a little above it, this one's below. So, and these are things you may or not hear, may or may not even hear in the context of the song. I mean, ultimately, I'm going to say yes, you are hearing it. Whether or not you realize it's necessarily off, maybe I should say whether or not I would realize. Well, I didn't, in fact, because I listened to it and I said, I'm not really hearing a whole lot there. So what I'm saying is that these are fairly subtle flats and sharps, depending on your ear and whatnot. But they in fact, when we look at them in Melodyne, they are off. So one thing we can do is just a global adjustment to all the notes that we have captured here. And that's by going up here, and this is correct pitch drift. Now watch these notes as I move this slider. Watch, especially like this note and this note. Watch what they do. Okay, I don't have them selected. Don't watch what they do. I have to select them first, I think. So I just drag this box over all those notes. So they all turn red now. Now they're all selected. So now watch what they do when I do this. You know what? I'm using the wrong one. That's why. Let me see something here. For some reason I'm forgetting exactly how this works, but there, turn that off. I don't think you have to select them like I did there. I think that they'll just move. I was moving the wrong slider. That's what it was. Let's see. Okay, let's watch these notes here. You see what's happening? The further I go to the right with this slider, the more it's moving the notes that were off into the correct pitch. Watch, I'll move it back now. See, almost many of the notes are moving. This one's moving, that one's a little sharp, that one's sharp, this one's flat, that one's flat. All these notes that are off are moving when I move this slider. And you can literally move it as much as you want. You see, it's being measured in percentages here. So say you didn't want it to necessarily be 100% on, just like maybe you wouldn't want any performance, a drum performance, a guitar performance, anything to be exactly in time on a grid. You may not want these to be exactly, but generally speaking, I'll go up to like about 80, 85, you know, like about that much. And maybe I'll even, this is correcting the pitch drift, which is just like the amount of vibrato that was used, the waviness. Watch the waviness here when I move this. You see it's changing. It's actually shrinking. It's not that significant. It's fairly subtle. But and in this case, I'm not going to even use that in this case. I'm just going to use the pitch correction. So now when we listen to this, I don't even know, being that I didn't hear it the first time on these headphones, I may not even notice a difference, but I can click here and just play this and we'll hear if we can hear the difference.
So close, I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on, tighter, babe. No place I'd rather be.
I think I can, even on these headphones. I think it does feel a little bit tighter to me. Now it could be psychological, but I know it isn't because I've used this program many times and listened to it on better sound sources, you know, whether they were speakers or headphones, and you can definitely tell the difference. And something else you can do with this, which is neat, and I have varying success with this, but I have used it, and sometimes it works really well. It's just a little bit hit and miss, I guess, at least. And that could be just my, you know, lack of expertise using the program, but for instance, listen to this last part.
No place I'd rather be.
Now say you just wanted to make a harmony part for that last part, right? Here's something you can do. You capture all those notes, you highlight them, basically doing that. Then you come over here and you say edit, copy, and then edit, paste. Now it doesn't look like anything's happened here, but what's technically happened is it's copied and pasted those exact notes on top of the notes that were already there. So it's essentially just made a copy. But what I can do now is I can literally drag, the copy is on top, so I can literally just drag this copy anywhere I want, up or down. And I'm going to have to adjust it a little, but let's see. Generally, you know, thirds are pretty good for harmony. So let's go up a third. We're going to go up a major third in this case from this A note.
Play.
Up to that C sharp. Now, the intervals aren't necessarily always going to be right when you do this, just because of the nature of how scales work and whatnot. But let's see which notes aren't right. Like you see, all these C's are not in the scale of C sharp minor. So all these C's are going to have to change. Where would they go is the question. Okay, so we're coming from here, so we could bring them down to B. Let's try that and see what happens. Whoops, I didn't mean to do that. Can I undo that? I don't even know what that was. Oh, it's not what I wanted to do. I went into some strange mode there. I think it's just this, the amplitude mode. Yeah, there we go. So I'm not sure. Sometimes I have to fiddle with this to get it to work, but let's see. Let's see if we bring them down to B.
No.
Let's see what it sounds like. So essentially what we've done here is we've just made a copy of the original vocal and then literally changed the pitch of those notes to make a harmony part. Let's hear what it sounds like. Start back here maybe.
No place I'd rather be.
That's not horrible. I mean, it sounds a little, maybe a little, you know, machine-like or something to me.
No place I'd rather be.
But you know, it's not bad. It's honestly, it's not bad too. It sounds pretty good. Again, these headphones are challenging in and of themselves, but hopefully, here I'll solo it. Let's see. Let's solo this part. This is just the vocal now.
No place I'd rather be.
So one thing I can do here, this is almost sounding like a little too much vibrato for my taste. This also has this tool, the pitch drift tool, which you can manually adjust that. Let's see. So I tried to reduce it there. Let's see.
No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be.
That sounds pretty good. Let me just do a double check here of the notes. Sometimes one will sneak by me that's out of pitch or out of key. Oh, what about this one? Yep, that one's out. Hold on. So that can either go. That's in. See, that's going in harmony to this note. So I'm going to say down on that one. That's in key. Let's hear what that sounds like.
No place I'd rather be. Come on. No place I'd rather be.
One thing I'm thinking here, just as an idea, and this could not work, but just maybe this last harmony note, or next to last technically, I want to try moving this up to there. Let's see what that sounds like. Could be garbage.
No place I'd rather be.
One more time.
No place I'd rather be.
Yeah, there's a bit of the. Let's try this again here. Is this the one I'm thinking of? Oh yeah, I was using the wrong tool before. This is the one that really will flatten out those vibratos. Now that could, you got to be careful though. You can go too far with this. Let's hear what that sounds like.
No place I'd rather be. No place I'd rather be.
I don't think so. I don't think so somehow. I don't know. Let me see. Let's put it back where it was.
No place I'd rather be.
That sounds a little more natural. Somehow when I go for that higher note, it's starting to sound a little more processed. I don't know why that is, but it does.
No place I'd rather be.
That sounds a little more natural to me. And I'm going to, let me see.
No place
I don't, it doesn't bother me a whole lot, but I'm gonna try and level out the vibrato there a little more on this note. What I thought I did before, but I didn't. I was using the wrong tool.
No place I'd rather be.
Yeah, that sounds better to me. Doesn't sound, it's a little too much vibrato there for me before.
No place I'd rather be.
So that's basically how this is used. I mean, I could add another, I could copy it again and add another harmony part, and again if I wanted to. And sometimes I'll use it for effects, like just grab a vocal passage in here and not copy it, but just move it down dramatically. I'll give you an example here, just for fun.
Hold on tighter, babe.
Hold on tighter, babe. Let's take that part. It makes some strange sounds here too when you're moving over notes. Sometimes they sound like almost like insects or something to me. But watch this. Let's take that part that we just listened to. We'll listen to it one more time here. Watch.
Hold on tighter, babe.
Okay, right. We're gonna take that part and we're gonna move it down just for fun here. We're gonna move it down an octave. Yeah, let's move it down a full octave. So we'll go from this G sharp all the way down to this G sharp.
Hold on.
Now listen to what it does.
Hold on. Tighter, babe. Nope.
Now obviously that sounds processed. It doesn't sound natural.
Hold on. Tighter, babe.
But that's just an idea of more like an effect or a gimmick type thing you could do with it. I'll just undo that, and it'll snap back to where it was.
Hold on. Tighter, babe.
Now, I think if you made a less of an adjustment, like if that was a full octave, I tried to go down there. Let's see if we went down a minor third. So down to E here. Let's see. That's actually a major third, but
Hold on.
I think this will sound less processed. Let's see.
Hold on. Tighter, babe.
It still sounds processed to me, but less so.
Hold on. Tighter, babe.
You see, it doesn't have quite as much buzzing in it as it did.
Hold on. Tighter, babe.
So it can be really effective. Mostly in my opinion, and just, again, this could be relative to my ability, my skills with it, but it's better generally with the subtler moves, like bringing those notes into pitch, the first thing we did. I mean, I can't even hear that it's been processed when it's just those subtle moves, when it's bringing something flat back into pitch. And even this harmony doesn't sound too bad.
No place I'd rather be.
It sounds a little processed, almost like it has a chorus effect on it or something to my ear. And I've tried to deal with that before, and I think because what a chorus is essentially doing is a very small delay, I've thought, well, maybe I moved, the second notes forward or back a little bit, but I've tried to, go zoom in, which is what I'm doing right here, and see, and they look really close. Like that's as far as you can zoom in, I think, on this thing. And I mean, the start points, I can put a line there. I mean, I can't see that there's any difference at that resolution where those notes are starting. If it is, it's just micro small. But that's kind of what I'm hearing there. I don't know if you're hearing it, but I hear kind of almost like a chorusing effect.
No place I'd rather be.
That makes it sound perhaps a little bit processed, as opposed to a natural chorus. But let's see, do I want to keep that? I guess so. So what you do is you come over here to Melodyne again, and you say render. Now it's just essentially it's rendering it. Instead of it just existing in the plugin, it's actually printed out the changes we made. So now we can listen to it within the context of the DAW here. Let's listen to it unsoloed.
So goes. I can feel your breath on my face. Hold on, tighter, babe. No place I'd rather be.
Now, I think there's a fairly large debate, at least I've seen him before, heard people talking about it, as to whether or not you should even use things like this. I mean, and, I feel like it's just another tool, and if you don't abuse it, overuse it, it can be helpful. I also sometimes feel the other side of the argument, which is it's better just to sing it right naturally than to try to come in and correct it afterwards. That's fine. Too. I've done it both ways. And, for the longest time, of course, I didn't have this program or anything like it. So it was just, sing it right or it's going to be off, basically. So, I don't know. I guess I have mixed feelings about that. And I can respect both sides of the argument. I'd love to sing everything exactly right every time, but that's, just not the case. And sometimes I think maybe things are better just a little bit out. It sounds more human or more natural or something. But in any case, that's how to use that if you ever want to use it. Now, Something I say that I do a lot and that I haven't been doing much is saving in these videos, so I'm going to do that. And I think I'm going to stop here. I went a little bit over even in my time. Just a few minutes, but now we have our vocal track in here, or at least the beginnings of it. Like I said, I might want to, I think I probably do want to try to do a harmony part on this chorus. I wasn't particularly thrilled with just copying and kind of doubling this part as we did right here. So I'm going to stop it for now, and I shall return. Whoops, that's not what I wanted to bring up there. I shall return.